Hello, welcome to my channel once again. This is Olubenga, and welcome to Study Abroad 101. And this is a series that I'm going to be doing for a couple of weeks. And I'm going to walk you through more like a beginner's crash course on this study abroad journey, on where to start from, what to do at one point in time. So it's going to be coming out in form of different episodes. So this is the first episode. Although this is a live session, so you are welcome. I want to apologize for those who have been hanging around. I'm supposed to have started this live session about 30 minutes ago. So if you are just joining, you are welcome. You are welcome. You're welcome. So just make a comment. Just make a comment in the comment section. Let me know where you are joining from. You can just mention your name and where you are joining me from. All right. I want to know those who are here. Welcome, welcome. Okay, so while I wait for others to join, I'm just going to go on with the whole thing. All right. Just let me know that you can hear me. Let me know you can hear me. All right. It is very important that I know that you can hear me. Okay, so in today's session, we are going to be looking at where do I start from, all right? A lot of people ask me questions. Oh, I would like to make inquiry about studying abroad. I would like to do my master's in the US, in the UK, in Canada, in Australia, in Europe. People mention different places. Where do I start from, all right? So that is the idea of this today's live session is where do I start from? So if you are confused, you don't know where to start from, the question I'm going to be answering today is where do you start from? What do you need to know? What are the background thing or background information that you need to have before you can even think about starting this journey of applying to schools abroad, applying for scholarships, getting access to funding and all of that. So where do I start from? That is the question this today's session tend to answer. All right. So if you are just joining me, let me know where you are joining from. All right. Let me know where you are joining from. Let me know where you are joining from. Your name and your location is very important. So the first thing that I want to say, and I know my fellow African people we understand this properly. If you are wholly jackpot minded, this is not for you, all right? This video is not for you. If the only thing you think about is jackpot, it's more like you want to escape. This is not for you. This is actually for those who want to pursue education abroad, all right? People who want to pursue education abroad. There are several ways people travel abroad. There are several ways people migrate and all of that. But this is not about that. This is about education. So if you're not ready to study, if you're not ready to go to classes, if you're not ready to pursue education for the sake of contributing to your country or wherever country you find yourself later on, this is actually not for you. All right. So you need to remove that mindset. All right. Because you'll be frustrated if you go with this mindset of, by all means kind of mindset. You are going to be frustrated in this journey. I can tell you that for free. And I have to be honest, I personally, I am very honest with people and not minding if people get angry or not. But that's the truth. This is only for those who are interested in being a student again, being a master's student, being a PhD student, or being an undergraduate student for some, for a few moments in order for you to achieve your dreams or pursue the next thing in your career. All right. So that's the first thing I want you to understand. Your mindset in this study abroad journey is very important. Where do I start from? Start from your mindset. All right. Put yourself back in a student mindset, in a researcher mindset, or in a career person mindset. Whatever you have gone ahead to do, maybe you've graduated you graduated several years ago and you've gone ahead to do a lot of things. Now you need to come back with a good mindset to pursue this. You don't you must not be desperate. You must be committed, but it's not a desperate thing that you end up doing things that you're not supposed to do. And some people even end up losing money in this process to fake agents and all of that. This is a DIY thing. That's what I preach on my channel, doing it yourself. All right. Yes, I can guide you. People can guide you. You can have people guide you. But the most important is, doing it yourself, going through this process by yourself. Right. Okay. So the second thing I want you to understand about the study abroad is it's either you study abroad with your own money, that's self-funded, or you are fully funded. All right, self-funded versus fully funded. Self-funded means you are paying for your tuition fee, you're paying for all the fees, tuition fee, maybe international student fee for some, some schools get that paid. Your health insurance in some countries, that health insurance is very important, like in the US, UK, Canada. These countries are set up in a way that you must have an health insurance plan, whether as a citizen or as an alien or as an international student studying in that country. You need to have a health insurance and some other fees like that. All right. So self-funded means you are in charge. You are the one taking care of yourself in every of these fees. All right. Your living expenses. That's your self-funded. All right. Then we have fully funded. Fully funded are students who maybe someone else or the institution or another institution or another organization is funding your studies. All right. There's one that is in between, which is more like partial funding. All right. Maybe like 50% of your expenses is being covered while you cover the other parts, or whichever percentage that comes in. So it can be in either of these ways. So you could be self-funded, you could be fully funded, and could be partially funded. All right. So that is something you want to keep in mind. So but the thing there is that studying abroad is not for everyone. So if you are already doing well, doing okay in your country, you're progressing in your career, I don't think there's any need for that. All right. Some may have to look for, there are several ways in which you can explore other countries. Maybe you want to, some can come on a visit visa, as a tourist visa. You can visit the UK and go back. You can visit the US for a conference or for whatever it is and go back to your country. So these are other options. And also there are work visas. People can apply for work, for employment in other countries. So those are options you can look into if you don't want to study, like I said earlier on. So, but if you want to study, these are options available: self-funded, fully funded, partially funded. All right. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the fully funded opportunities. All right. Talking about the fully funded opportunities, they are in different categories. All right. It could come in form of a scholarship. It could come in form of a fellowship, especially for graduate studies like master's and PhD level. It will come in form of fellowship or graduate assistantship. There's a video on my channel where I talk about different kind of scholarships or funding. I talk about what graduate assistantship is. You can go right on my channel to look for that. All right. Yeah, the video is right here on my channel, and I think I can share it. I probably can share that on the screen here. Let me look for it. All right. Okay, so the video is right here on my channel. You can come to look for it. So this is the video right here where I talk about funding, different kind of funding, different types of funding, graduate assistantship, scholarship, fellowship. And I talk about the difference between all of these funding sources. So you want to come here and look for that. All right. So so it could come in different forms like that, and it could be a combination of graduate assistantship and fellowship and scholarship. Some people can even have everything combined. So different kind of funding. So I don't want to talk much about that. You can watch that video. I can just give you a hint. Scholarship, for scholarship, it's more like a merit-based funding. Maybe you are given that scholarship based on your merit, based on your CGPA. Maybe you made a first class, or maybe you've won different awards, or you've done some community service. It's usually based on your profile also. So you for that, you don't need to do anything in return. You are not doing any work. You are not doing anything. You're giving that fund to sponsor your education for a particular period of time, right? So, but for graduate assistantship, for instance, look at the word assistantship. It means you are going to be assisting the department, or assisting the lab, or assisting a particular research, or assisting a particular professor in their research or fieldwork or anything. For graduate assistantship kind of funding, you are going to be doing something in return. All right. So when you are doing something, they are now, they are paying your tuition because you are working for them. So for instance, if you are a graduate teaching assistantship, because we have different types of assistantship, we have graduate teaching assistantship, we have graduate research assistantship, we have graduate administrative assistantship, and some other forms, right? But the most popular ones are graduate teaching assistantship and graduate research assistantship. So you want to know which one you will be given at every point in time, and it depends on your profile. So, but the basic idea is that whichever one it is, you are going to be doing something in return. You are going to be doing something in return as a graduate assistant, all right? As a graduate assistant. So that's another funny. I mean, that's for me, that's the most important. For me, that's the most, should I say, the sweetest one. For me, that's the one I pursue because number one, it gives me experience. You are doing something, maybe a research experience or teaching experience, and it also covers your living expenses, your tuition for some in some case. So, and it could be a full graduate assistantship opportunity. It could be partial. All right. If it is partial, there will be a certain number of hours you can do the work, and then a certain number of or certain percentage of coverage on your expenses. So that means you have to cover the others by yourself. All right. So if you see people study abroad on funding, fully funded, it comes in these different ways: fellowship, scholarship, assistantship, and it could be a combination of all of this. And it could be a grant, All right. So, but I don't want to talk more about that. You can check my videos to look at that, the video I've shown you on this channel. So, and it all depends on several things. If you would have access to this funding, it depends on several things. It depends on your profile. It depends on your profile. Most of the schools will give you this funding based on your profile. Maybe your profile is captivating. Maybe you made a first class, or maybe you look at your CV. You've done a lot of stuff. You've done some research. You've done some community service. It all depends on the program and what the program is looking for. For instance, if you are applying to a master's in maybe let's say masters in social work, for instance, you want to look at some of the things you have done before. Maybe you have done some community engagement that shows you are actually ready, you have the profile, and they can give you this funding. They can, oh, this person is worth investing in, and if we have this person in our team or as our student, it's really going to be beneficial for our department or for our lab. All right, so it depends on your profile. And it also depends on how well you can package yourself. Some people have a good profile, some have a good academic achievement, but they don't know how to package themselves. I've met people who are first class, but when you look at their CV, they excuse me, they don't know how to package very well. This is, it is something you need to learn. All right, so having a good profile is different from putting together a good profile. You can be the best student, you can be the best graduated student, but if you don't know how to package yourself, you don't know how to put that together in your CV or on your online profile, your LinkedIn. Some don't even have a LinkedIn. All of these things, or you just submit an application that is not well prepared. Even if you are a first class, even if you have a good academic achievement, you may not be given that opportunity. As a matter of fact, that may even cost you admission, because you don't know how to package what you have. So it is important. So your profile, your packaging can earn you a fully funded position in some of these programs you want to pursue. And it also depends on the program. So when it comes to having full funding, it depends on the program. Some program have enough funding to fund their program and to fund students that they want to have in their team, right? Most especially STEM program, STEM. STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, all right? So if the program you are interested in studying fall under STEM, most of STEM programs have access to funding. So they are prone to fund their students. And some are non-STEM and they still have funding, all right? For instance, I am studying a non-STEM program, and from my master's program all the way going into my PhD, it is fully funded. So it doesn't mean even if you are not in the STEM field, it is still possible to get scholarship, to get graduate assistantship and all of that, but just that you will have to do more work in searching for those schools, for those programs that will fund you. You do more work than the people who are already in STEM, because a lot of STEMs have funding opportunities. If you think about it, for instance, those who are in, are doing chemistry or chemical engineering and all of that, they have laboratories in those departments, and those labs have research projects going on that are funded. Some are funded by an external body, some are funded by the government, some are funded by the school, so some are funded by some independent research team. So those are funding opportunities available. So that is when you come in, you want to join that team, and you also want to contribute to that research, and then in turn they will help, they will be able to assist you in your educational expenses. All right, so you want to look at the program you want to study also. So it depends on the program when we talk about funding. All right, but one thing I also want to let you know, that the competition is getting fierce now. It's getting fierce, it's getting so tough. So you need to come up, and it comes down to your profile. You need to build your profile. If you make a first class, you need to know how to talk about it in your profile. If you did not make a first class like myself in my undergraduate days, you also need to cover it up. You need to make it up with other things. All right, you need to engage your work. Your work can cover it up also for you. You need to engage in some other things. There's a way you can build up your profile to make it up and prepare yourself for this funding opportunity. So self-funded is another way, especially if you don't have a good profile. And also it depends on the program. There are programs that you are really interested in this program, and it's going to move you forward in your career, and there's no scholarship opportunity or funding opportunity in that program. You can decide to say, well, I will fund myself because I know the opportunity that surrounds having a degree in this program. All right, so sometimes self-funded can come in that way. So it all depends. So I started with the first thing, your mindset, number one. Number two, I'm talking about, this is what I'm talking about currently, is self-funded versus fully funded. All right, so the number three thing I want to talk about is your profile. All right, your profile is very important here, and we have to make this. Your profile is very important. All right, so you can also help your profile by number one, building your CGPA, especially if you are still in school, you are still an undergraduate, and you are in your final year, you are in your penultimate year. You still have enough time to build your profile. Make good grades, get a first class if you can. If you cannot get a first class, get a second class upper, or just make sure you are not dropping below second class, because even for second class, competition is tough now. It's getting tougher. I'm not scaring anyone here with that. I'm just giving you the reality. People are getting to know the importance of studying abroad, and maybe returning to their country to make impact. Because for some it is adventure, for some it is an opportunity to get access to good education in their dream universities, dream programs, and dream countries, and then return back to give back to to their community, right? So it's getting tougher, even for first class students. A lot of people are coming out with first class now in the university, all right? So the competition, you can imagine that, let's say 100 students are applying to a program, and out of those 100, you have 20 of them that are first class, and they just want to accept like 10 of them. You can imagine tough. So if you are not a first class student, there must be something else that is standing out in your profile that will make you get the chance or the opportunity ahead of the first class student. Just think about it like that. So your profile, your CGPA, and you can also build your profile by job experience. So for some people, maybe you graduated 2 years ago, 3 years ago. You did not graduate with first class, but you have experience. You have worked in a laboratory. Let's say you graduated as a microbiologist, right? And you have worked in the lab where they make research, or where they do, do a lot of testing and all that. That is an experience. Somebody can have a first class and does not have that experience. So for you, that is what you want to leverage on. So you can see, for some people, it is research experience. They graduated from the university and maybe they started working for the department as a research assistant, or they started working in a particular lab as a research assistant, or they've gone ahead to do masters in their own country. They have the research experience. So that can be a plus to your profile. So you can see different ways you can build your profile. You can build it with your CGPA, your academic achievements, or your awards. Some will even win award in their school, in their university, best graduating students in this, blah, blah, blah. Those are things you can put together to make up your profile. So I've talked about your CGPA, your academic achievement. I talk about your job experience, your research experience. Some can also boost their profile with another degree, all right? You can boost it with another degree, maybe another diploma in something, or maybe with an MBA, such that when you are now applying to these schools abroad, you have a strong profile. You have a strong profile, all right? So it's very important. This can help your profile. This can help your profile. Okay. So I've talked about those 3 things: your mindset, the funding. I've talked about the funding aspect. That's the second thing, and then the third thing is your profile. All right. So you want to make sure you focus and pay attention to your profile. Number 4 thing I want to mention is talking about the program you want to study. Which program do you want to study? All right. There are hundreds of programs, or let me say thousands of programs that are out there. You cannot study just any program. All right. It depends on your profile. It depends on your there are several things that comes to play. Which program do you want to study? That's another question. The first thing you want to check is your bachelor's or master's degree. It must match up. What did you study in the university? That will determine what you are going to study, or what program you are going to apply to. All right. Let's say, for instance, you study economics in the university, then you can apply to master's program or PhD in economics, or other fields that are related to that. So what will determine the program you will go for is, number 1, what you study in your undergraduate, or what you did in your master's. For some who already have masters in their home country, it can be a continuation of that line. So what program align with what you study? It may not be the exact thing, but it just need to align with it. For instance, you can graduate with a BA in English, or a bachelor's degree in English language, and you can decide to do a master's in linguistics or master's in communication. You can see there's an alignment. Okay, they are not totally different. So it depends on your career goal. It depends on your goal, your projection, and your another thing. The second thing is your interest. Which program are you interested in? So it may not be the exact thing you study. Your interest can fuel which program you will apply to. For some people who graduated, maybe you graduated from chemistry, for instance, you may be interested in something like cyber security. All right, it's totally different from what you did. All right, but you just need to, as much as it is different, which is it's a challenge. That's a challenge. It is something you need to prove to the visa officers, for instance. Why are you doing something different from what you did in your undergraduate? So if you're able to prove it, maybe since you graduated from the university, you have practically been working in the cybersecurity or in the IT industry. Even though you graduated as a medical doctor, but you have been working in the IT industry for 2 years, for 3 years, that is something to show the visa officer that, listen, I have been interested in this area for long and I've been working in that aspect. You see the connection. So your interest also matter. But if there's no connection at all, it's going to be difficult. All right. The job market can also fuel your decision on which program you want to apply to. There are some programs that the job market is getting slim for them, right? People graduate with those programs. I don't want to mention any program here, so that people will not feel bad that maybe they are currently studying that program now. All right. So the job market for some programs are already nose diving, and especially because of technology, things are changing in the world right now. So you want to look at the kind of program you are applying to. The job market can determine. Somebody can say, okay, I'm not going for this again. I want to go for this, so that when I finish my studies and I'm returning back to my country or returning to any other country, you have a degree in hand that is employable. All right. Funding availability also determines which program to apply to. All right. Like I said before, a lot of funding opportunities are in the STEM. So that's why some people, may have an undergraduate degree that is not in STEM and later apply to a degree that is in STEM, right, because of funding of availability. So that's another consideration that determines which program to study. For some people, it's also their career goal. All right, people have changed career, changed program or study because of their career goals. Uh, Maybe this is the place they want to work. This is the kind of place they want to work. This is the kind of environment they would like to work. This is the kind of career that they see themselves practicing in the future. That can influence the decision they make in choosing the program to study. So, and that may be your case also. You are looking at the your decision, okay? And other things I want to talk about is your age. Your age also matter. Age matters in this thing, okay? For instance, if you are a 40-year-old, you cannot apply for an undergraduate program now and be able to convince the visa officer, a 40-year-old and you're applying for an undergraduate program. What do you want to tell the visa officer while you're applying for that program? What have you been doing? Since you finished high school, all right? If you have an undergraduate degree already, why are you going for another one? You can see. So age factor also matter in the program you are applying to, okay? Think about this thing. This is just logical, right? It is not just about passion. Oh, I'm interested in this thing. Sometimes you have to be logical. I am in this field and I'm changing to this field. If I am the visa officer, will I approve this kind of application? You can see that's just logic sometimes. As much as we are passionate about something, your passion should not block your reasoning. It should not block your application of logic, all right? So sometimes we have to be logical in these things, all right? So why are you switching program? Why are you switching career paths? That is a question you want to ask yourself. And once you are able to defend that, or once you have to build that connection, like I mentioned on before, that maybe you have been working in that area before, even though you graduated in this field, this is the field I have been working on. So that is a way to prove, that is a way to show, that's a way to show the connection, the bridge between those areas. So it is important to do that. It is important to do that. All right. Another thing that I want to talk about, which is the number 5 thing, is what country. So after you have talked about the program you are interested in, what country do you want to study? You want to study abroad. Abroad is abroad. Abroad is broad. Let me put it that way. All right. Abroad is abroad. Abroad is broad. So when you're saying studying abroad, which country exactly are you talking about? All right. Do you want to study in the UK? Do you want to study in the US? Are you thinking about Australia? Are you thinking about European countries like Germany, like France, like Malta? okay, like Austria and all of that. Are you thinking about Canada? Are you thinking about US? Right? Which country are you talking about? The Middle East? You know, for some people, you want to study in the UAE, Dubai, blah blah blah. So, which country exactly do you want to? Which location are you looking into? And for some people, they already have the country in mind, but which location in that country do you want to? Do you want to decide to choose a program from, all right, to study, or do you want to apply to? So, but just know that every country have their own pros and cons, and I'll probably talk about that in another video. You know, that's why people go to different countries for several reasons to study, all right, because every country have their pros and cons. Some people don't end up in their dream country; they just have to go to another country because they were not able to scale through the hurdles and the challenges that their dream country of study put in quotes, have, right? So there are pros and cons in every country in terms of funding, in terms of how easy it is to get a visa. Some countries, have little challenge when it comes to visa, but they don't have enough funding. Some have good funding opportunities for international students, but they don't. The visa application, it's a little bit challenging. So for some, both of them are difficult. So it depends on the pros and cons and how you are able to face and challenge these things and scale through these hurdles. All right. So what are the considerations when you are looking at the location, you are looking at the funding opportunity? This place I want to apply to, are there funding opportunities? If there are no much funding opportunity, am I ready to self-fund my education? Maybe based on the opportunity that lies ahead. All right. Also, you want to look at the visa process. You need to look at how does the visa process really work before you dabble into it, so that you can prepare yourself. Okay, all of these things, I'm going to do a separate video on some of these issues, one after the other later on. All right. You want to also look at your post-study plan. When I finish in this country, what are the post-study plans available? What are the options available for me before I return back to my country to gain experience, maybe in that country, before returning back to my country or going elsewhere to settle down. So these are some of the things, some of the factors you put in place, to look at which country you want to apply to. All right. You need to look at why those location. All right. So, and then also the educational expenses in that particular country, how expensive it is for education, how expensive the educational cost in that country. Is this something I can afford, especially if you are thinking about self-funded, if you want to fund it by yourself? Is this something I can afford? For some location, the education is very cheap there, so you can go there to study, and it's they may not have all the opportunities of the big cities, but the education cost there is very low. So some people make choice and decisions based on that. For instance, in Canada, there are some provinces that are very small provinces, and so education is very low. The education expenses there is very low because it's a small province, and they still want to attract more people to come to relocate or to come to those places temporarily or permanently. So the education expenses there is very low. So you want to look at that. So I just use that as an example. There are some other countries like that too that fall into that category. So you want to look at that, and you want to look at the post-study opportunities there. I mentioned that. Some people also look at the weather condition, right? Some people are not used to, for instance, snow. So don't just jump if you are not used to snow. Or nobody is used to snow if you are not experienced it. But if you have problem with cold, you may want to look at the location you are choosing. All right. A lot of these countries are cold, right? But some are extremely cold. Like some locations are very cold. So you want to look at that. But if you if you are not scared of adventure, if you can adapt, you can face these challenges, fine. All right. So you want to look at that. That's another factor that make people to decide where to study the weather condition of that place. Some also look at family, how easy it is for people to build family in that place or in that location. That's another consideration. Also, proximity. Some don't want to be too far from their home country, so they choose some location based on that. Or this particular country or this particular city is not too far from my home country. I don't want to be far away from my brothers and sisters and uncles at home. You know, people make decisions based on that also. So the location is another thing that is very important. You need to set which location. People just chat me up and say, I want to study abroad now. Which exact place do you want to go? And how ready are you, to explore that opportunity? And by the time I finish explaining, some will say, no, 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 I'm not going to this country again. I want to go and study in this particular. So they change their mind. So the location is very important. For some people, when you look at your profile, you know that this is the best location you can go to, based on your profile. So it is very important. I've talked about many things. I've talked about having a good mindset. I've talked about funding, self-funded versus fully funded. I've talked about, what else again did I talk about? I hope you are following. I think I've talked about which program you want to study. I've talked about that. And also I've talked about, then check that. I've talked about what country, all right? That's what we just finished talking about now, what country. Number 6, I want to talk about when do you want to start, all right? When exactly do you want to start? You need to understand the season of these countries and the educational system, all right? For some people who are, for instance, from Nigeria, you have semesters, or first semester, second semester, or Harmattan semester, rain semester, this semester, they call it different names in different schools, all right? So you want to understand the seasons in these countries. You want to understand fall. What is fall? When is fall? Fall semester, for instance, in most countries starts in August or September for some people. All right, that is fall semester. That's more like the first semester in most countries. All right, fall semester is always like the first semester. It starts in August or September for some schools, and it ends in December. All right. And then we have spring semester, which starts for some schools in January and it ends in May. Then we have the summer, which is usually an holiday, but some people still hold classes. Some countries, some universities, most universities hold classes in summer. For some people who want to substitute their holiday for a class. So they want to make, maybe they want to finish early, they want to graduate early, or they are having an outstanding course to take. They can decide to use their summer instead of going for holiday to take classes. So summer is another semester on its own, even though it's an holiday for most people, but summer is another one. Some also have winter, that starts maybe like for some schools starts in December and then ends maybe like March or February. Some of those things are flexible depending on the school. They are flexibly designed based on the school, based on the location and country also. So you want to understand these seasons. You want to go online and study these seasons and understand how they work so that you can know when to apply. Because the reason why you need to understand when to start is why you need to start studying about the season. You need to understand these seasons and how they work. All right, know when summer is. The school you want to apply to, know which season they are now, know which semester they are currently in, so that you can know how to plan by yourself. So when to start is very important. You need to understand these seasons and how they work so that you can use the time you have to prepare. Like I always tell people, if you are planning to study abroad, it is important for you to prepare yourself. All right. If you are just joining, let me know in the comment section. Let me know your name. You're welcome. Your name, maybe your country, the country where you're joining from. You can mention that. All right. This is the Study Abroad 101 series, and today is a live session, and it's also the first episode in this series that I'm going to be doing for several weeks to come now. All right, so if you are joining, if you can hear me, let me know if you can hear me first, and also let me know your name and which country you are joining from. So it's an opportunity to have you here. So I'm in number 6. In other words, what I'm talking about is, when do you start? When do you want to start? All right, and I mentioned the fact that you need to understand the seasons, the academic seasons in each of these countries. All right, and use the remaining time, the time left before the next resumption, to plan. All right, understanding the season, we give you the opportunity to know when to submit your application. For instance, some schools or some programs will only give funding in a particular semester. Let's say you are applying in social semester, this fall semester, they only have funding for fall. They don't have for those who are applying in spring. They do not have funding for those who are applying in summer. A lot of programs don't even have funding for people who are applying in summer. You know, so you want to understand which season or which semester are they currently in, so that you can know when to apply and start planning on how to submit your application. So while you are waiting, use the remaining time to prepare yourself. Use the remaining time to write tests. If you need to write tests, prepare documents, apply for your transcript. In the next video, I'm going to talk about the documents you will be needing, in this study abroad journey, the documents you need to have, you need to prepare to have, and all of that. So in the next episode, that is what I'm going to be talking about. It's likely not going to be a live session. I'm just going to drop it as a video on this channel, so you may want to take note of that and come right on my channel and see when I drop that video. So understand the season and know when you want to start and prepare yourself. I always tell people, if you want to, don't just say, I want to study abroad and I want to go next month. That's going to be difficult, right? Maybe if you have the money, you can do that. It's possible. But most time, I tell people to plan ahead. Have like 8 months plan ahead. Let's say you want to study in the next year, you start planning now. All right. So have like 8 months or 1 year planning ahead. So don't just conclude and just pack your bag and everything and say you want to go now. No, it doesn't work that way. So you have to plan ahead. You have to have a foresight. If I'm going to be applying by fall this year, I'm going to be starting next year, that kind of thing. So it's just the same way it works even in your home country. It is not, you don't apply the same month and then fly. It depends. Anyway, that depends on several other factors. All right. So understanding the season is very important. Okay. Then the number 7 thing, which may maybe probably be the last thing, or I have one more bonus thing to give on that, is to start searching for the schools. All right. Start searching for the schools and programs you want to apply to. All right, except you are using an agent to apply to these schools, maybe you can fold your hands. Usually, I'm a DIY person and I always preach to people to do it by themselves, especially if you want a scholarship opportunity. You might likely want to go through the process by yourself. And because some of these schools and professors that will give you this funding, they want to get to know you. So the only way they can get to know you is if you are involved in the process by yourself. All right, so number 7 thing, start searching for the schools and the program that match your profile. Start searching for the school, for the program that matches your profile. All right. I have an upcoming video that I'm going to show you and walk you through the step on how to search for the schools by yourself. All right. As a matter of fact, I have a preamble video of that, which is right here on my channel. So you may want to come and check that. I think it's right here on the channel where I show how to search for schools. So let me show you that. Okay. So yes, you can see it here. All right, so you can see it here. How to search for schools is here on my channel, but I'm also going to make a comprehensive video on that very soon. I'm going to make a comprehensive video on that very soon. Okay. All right, so let's continue. Okay, so you need to start searching for the schools. Now, this is not what someone will do for you. You have to do it by yourself. You have to do the searching by yourself. You go to the school websites. You have to take time to search, to dig deep into the website of the school, of the department, of the program you want to apply to. You check the names of the professor. You check their research area, the area they are working on, and see how you can come in, see how you can match your profile with what they are doing. All of these things take strategy, which I'm going to be walking you through them in this series. It's really going to be a time together as I'll be dropping it episode by episode, teaching you how to go through all of this process. So today is just like an introduction, and I'm walking you through, giving you a background information on what you need to do before we start digging into all of this. All right, so you have to take time, be patient to check and dig into the website of the school. You need to do that. Okay, another thing you have to be patient to do that anyway. If you are not patient, and that's why I started with the mindset. If you don't have the right mindset for this thing, it is not going to work. If you are not patient, if you are not ready to be a student again, if you only have a Japa mindset, it is not going to work. I'm using the word you are familiar with because I've met a lot of people that get frustrated in this process because of their mindset. So you need to be calm, and you need to be strategic and know what you want to do at points in time. So also join and follow some content creator on social media, on YouTube, like my page, right? On LinkedIn, there are some guys, amazing guys. Shout out to to our boss, Muiwa Igbala Jobi, Scholarship Cafe, the Fred Effect on YouTube. These people have been doing an amazing job sharing, scholarship opportunities with people online. So these things are there. Yes, there are comedies, there are skits, there are things you can, burn your data and spend time to watch, which are good also, maybe for the body. Laughter is good for the body, I know that. But again, you know what you want at every point in time. So these are things you should invest in. Invest your time in, linking up with these people on online, social media, on LinkedIn. Some of the people I mentioned, the platform I mentioned are available on LinkedIn. You can search on LinkedIn for scholarship opportunities, and you're going to see several things coming up. I'm always being honest with people. As much as I want you to be a faithful subscriber to my channel, I will be failing you not to tell you that there are also other channels that talks about these things that we talk about. So as much as you connect to my channel, connect to them, also learn from them. All right, pick one or two things. Those are the places where you see opportunities being shared. All right, make sure you start searching for the schools now. Now. If you want to ask me when to start searching, it is now. So start searching now. As at the time of this video, a semester is just running up and the fall semester is ahead. So even if you cannot resume in the next fall semester, you can resume the next year's fall semester. It depends on how fast you are able to put your application together. But start searching now, right? Start searching now. The last thing, which is the bonus, is to start preparing your documents. All right, there are documents you will submit. Definitely, you know that you submit documents, right? There are documents you need to have for this study abroad journey. All right, depending on the country, depending on the program, most likely depending on country, that is what you want to start preparing about now. So, what are documents you need to have? What are the documents you need to have in place? You need to start preparing your documents now, and that's what I will talk about in the next episode. It is not going to be a live session. The next episode will not, the next episode will not be a live session, right? I'm just going to drop the video on my channel, right? So, and I'm going to walk you through all the documents you need, all right? So that the ones you have, you can put them together. The ones you don't have, you can start preparing on how to get them, on how to get those documents. Maybe for some people you may need to write some tests. For some people you need to, some of these documents you need to pay to have them. Some they are free, you can get them around. It depends. So you don't want to miss that episode, that next episode, where I'll be talking about the documents you need to have. All right. So if you have joined me in this episode and up till now, I want to appreciate you for coming around. If you miss any points, you can always go back to check the points you miss, and make a comment in the comment section on this video. Ask your questions, share your opinions. I'm always free to, or I'll be able to respond to them as I come online to see them. Thank you very much. This is Olubenga once again, and if you don't know what or where you are, this is Life Beyond Borders, where we share scholarship and study abroad opportunities. And today I have looked into where to start from, especially in this series that I just started, the Study Abroad 101 series, where I walk you through all of the processes. So I've mentioned 7 things, right? The first thing is your mindset, all right? I said you must have a good mindset, all right? You must fix your mindset. It must not be a Japa mindset, whatever it is. So your mindset, and also secondly, I talk about the funding. We are fully funded and self-funded. We talk about that. And I also talk about your profile, how to build your profile. And also I talk about, number 4 thing that I talk about is the program you want to study. I talk about the location also, which is the number 5 thing. Number 6, we talk about when to start, and understanding the seasons in, the education seasons, the fall semester, spring semester, and when do you actually want to put in your application and how to prepare yourself. Number 7, we talk about searching for schools, right? So all of these points, you want to go back and watch them if you have missed any point. And then a bonus thing is I talk about the preparing your documents. You need to start preparing your documents, which is what I'm going to talk about in the next episode. The documents you need for your study abroad journey. Till I see you then, I'm going to end this session now. We are running close to 1 hour, and I actually don't want us to get to or exceed an hour. All right. Thank you for joining me in this live session. I'll be welcoming your comments, your questions. I decided to make this a live session just in case someone wants to ask a question along the line. All right. I remain Olubenga once again. Thank you for joining. Click the like button, share this video with your friends also, and let them take time to watch it. It's really going to help them, especially for those who don't know how this study abroad thing work. This is a video you want to sit down and watch. All right. Till I see you in the next episode. God bless you. Thank you.